Question of the day. Why am I such a big cat lover? Well, it's a bit of a life story, but I'll just summarize. I'm here with my precious boy Moogie. Don't let his size fool you. He's actually younger than he looks. In July, he's going to be 2. So he's still really young, buddy. Thought he'd be the star cat of this video. Why do I love cats? I've grown up with cats. I've had them since I was a kid. When I was a baby, my parents had Mitzi, and she had several litters, according to what my mum said. And the only cat I remember of hers was Sheba. She was black and white and just fluffy, like as fluffy as you can imagine. And I remember being about 6 or 7 at the time when she was around. Unfortunately, when I was about 9, it was probably not long before we left for Europe for a family holiday. She was very sick. She had a cat flu. She was all, around the nose. And pro tip for you cat owners, if you ever want to own a cat, it's actually good if their nose is moist, like just moist enough for to cold and a little bit wet. That means they're healthy. But if it's like warm and dried out, that means they're, you should probably make sure that they're okay. Unless you're here in Australia. If it's warm and dry, it's just midsummer, everyone dries out. But Miggie's okay. He's got a little moist nose. Thank you, Miggy. I've had a number of cats in my life. Sheba was one. Right before we left, she disappeared. She ran away, and I haven't seen her. I didn't see her again. And then we went to Europe for a couple of years. We spent the first 9 months in Germany. Didn't get any pets there, but we spent the remainder of the 2 years in Scotland. So for about just over a year and a month or whatever. And while we were there, I was about 11 years old, and we got a couple of kittens, and they died on me. They were really young. They were a couple weeks old, 3-4 weeks old. They weren't very old at all. We didn't know when we adopted them, but they were really sick. And I'm about to enclose a very personal story right now. It's kind of sad. I've had a lot of experience, watching a lot of pets die or pass away on my watch. What happened was, I remember going to the beach that day with my family. So while we were out, we put the kittens in the kitchen area because that was kind of connected, going back into the laundry where their stuff was. But somehow when we got home, the door was open a little bit, and all our bedrooms were upstairs, and we couldn't find them down, so we figured that they were up there. And we found these 2 were brothers. My sister's cat was kind of frantic and running around on the bed. And my kitten was lying motionless on the floor, half dead. And this is not something a 10-year-old should go through. We took him to the vet, but once we were there, he was pretty much pronounced dead. And then he kept his brother there for observation. We planned on picking him up the next morning, but my sister woke me up pretty early and said that the brother had died as well overnight. So I lost 2 kittens in a day, which was pretty devastating. So when we came back home to Australia, I didn't actually get another cat for a little while. We were in this apartment for a bit, and it was a bit small, so we didn't get one there. But then we moved again to a unit, and that's when I was saying to Mum, hey, I really want a kitten. I guess my 2 other kittens were fresh on my mind. I wanted to start over. What you doing? So we got Tabs, or Tabatha. This will be the cat I've had for the longest in my life so far. She was a year old when we got her for this guy who was giving his cats away, and there was either her or her brothers, and he was trying to push us to adopt the brothers, but I wanted to get her because she was a year old, she was young, she hadn't been fixed yet, so I knew that she could potentially give birth to a kitten litter. So we got her. I named her Tabatha, and a couple weeks later, she got pregnant. I remember being this 12-year-old watching cats mating in our backyard. It was a really weird experience. My prepubescent mind didn't really understand what was happening, but I knew that she would get kittens out of it. And yeah, about 2 months later or so, she gave birth to 5 kittens. And we raised all of them for about 6-7 weeks. And Mum said that I could keep one along with the mother. And I chose Tiger. I chose to keep Tiger. He was the middle kitten. And he stood out, and we clicked. He was my baby. I've always been kind of more drawn or more connected with male cats in a way, because they're, out of the gender, they are more placid, and they're more friendly, especially this one. But I think he wants to go away. And Tiger was just my boy. He was everything to me. You're probably wondering where he is. Well, he had 3 brothers and a sister, and when they were all old enough, we gave them to other families for free. It was just a kitten handout. And I raised Tiger myself. It got to a certain stage where Tabs viewed him more as a male than her own son. So I took over. I think Ray looked a little rough with him. He's got a bit of a scratch. Really toughy. I raised Tiger for nearly 10 years. But when I was about 22, mid of the year, in my early 20s, he rapidly lost weight all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. And I thought it was a good thing because he was a big cat. He was a little bit chubby. But then it just spiraled downwards from there. His stomach started bloating. Hey. One moment. And he was gradually just getting worse. So we took him to the vet, and they said there was this fluid buildup in his stomach, and it was so bad it was pressing on his heart. and he just couldn't get better. He couldn't run much anymore. He wasn't eating. He was puking all everywhere, and everyone around me was pressuring me to make the difficult decision. And I know deep down that was the kind thing to do, but I wasn't mentally prepared to let him go. I didn't have any time to really say goodbye to him. I just had to make the choice, and next thing I know, we were at the vet and we put him down, and it all happened so fast. But my cat Tabs, she's the core reason that I was able to recover as fast as I did. It helps. If you have a pet that's sick and you have to put them down, get another one, or make sure you have another pet around, because they're just good company, good natural healers. And Tabs was the only cat I had for years until we adopted this one. So just recently, in January, just one gone, a couple months ago. Tabs was 17 and a half. I've had her for 16 and a half years, most of my life. I was 12 when I adopted her, and I'm 29 now. And she was the one cat that I've had that's always been around for me. But she was really old and really sick, and she was anorexic, and I was in denial for a long time, until I did take her to the vet for a checkup, and they said there could be a number of things wrong. One of the big ones was kidney failure, and I just knew that there was nothing right about her. She was in a lot of pain, and it would be cruel to push it further, because she was just old, and I just knew deep down it was her time. But I was at least able to prepare myself. I got that rough diagnosis back in November, and I decided to make the appointment in January. So I had a couple of months to spend with her, and I got to spend one last Christmas with her. But it was still hard. I felt like I'd lost a best friend, a member of my family. And it wasn't just affecting me. I had my mum and my husband and my best friend come with me to the vet. And my best friend was the one that helped me when I broke down, because she understands. She's a dog person, but she understands the pain of having to let an animal go. This one was 3 months old when we got him. I'll get to him later though. My mum was sad. My dad is a strong emotional guy. Like, he doesn't show what he's feeling when it comes to death, but Tabs' death affected him. She was just my parents and my siblings all knew her. She was a member of our family. She had been for 16 years, so it was hard. I was depressed for weeks. It was only just in the last month that I've been okay. I'm still sad when I think about her. But in October 2017, I knew that she was getting up there in her age, and I wanted to be prepared for it. So we decided to adopt another one. So we got we drove over an hour up north to find all the good shelters, all the decent shelters, and we eventually went to a place, the RSPCA, the rescue shelter for Perth mostly, or for Australia, and I remember walking in to the cat area, and I saw this one. He was only 3 months old at the time, but another thing about adopting pets is you'll find that they choose you most of the time. When we walked in, he was immediately on his feet and he was clawing at the window and he was clawing at the window and meowing at us, and I just knew that I had to buy him. Go on then. Go on. So, Moogie's nearly 2 now. So I've had him for about a year and a half. And he's grown, I'm sure you can see he's grown pretty fast. Now, as I was nearing my final time with Tabs, we actually were prepared to adopt another one, because Miggy was still young and we wanted him to have a friend to play with, because he couldn't have that with Tab. She was old and gnarly and didn't want anything to do with him most of the time. So in very early January this year, we got permission from the owner to get a third cat while we it was a couple weeks before Tabs died, so just for a short while we had 3 cats running around. And so in early January, my husband was looking online and he saw this. He was looking at kittens for weeks until we found the right one, but it's amazing how fast they get snatched up by people. And but eventually he found this other one that said they're selling black and white kittens for $50. And they showed a picture of this little girl here. And I said, well, we were actually up north at the shopping mall up north at the time, so we had to come all the way back home because we lived an hour south. So we went all the way back and we went to their house because they were only 10 minutes from our home. And this one was 6 weeks old. She was $50. And she's been really good. She's her and Moogie training her and Moogie to get along, and then becoming friends and playing around has been very therapeutic for my depression of Tabs. There are people out there that don't believe animals are the same as, they're not worth feeling emotions over, or animals don't feel emotions. It's not true at all. In fact, the other week I had a bit of a spat with Ethan. I won't get into it, it's personal, but I was very upset and I was in tears, and Rayla just knew. She's one of those cats that sensed my pain, and she was coming up to me, meowing and purring and comforting me. And cats are not quite, they're not as open to affection as dogs a lot of the time. But they're there when you need them. I've tried to raise Rayla to. I've tried to show her that, show her with as much love and care as I possibly can, and over time she started showing it back to me. I apologise for our emotional tender, I guess. It has been hard without Tabs around. She spent her last months sitting out in the garden in the backyard, and oftentimes I look out there and think about her. I still miss her even now. I didn't have any space to bury her here. The vets offered cremation, but I said no, I want to bury her body properly. I want to hold her until the last minute. I didn't go up to her burial because I buried her on my sister's land, and she is 2 hours north, and I was in such an emotional wreck. I couldn't bear riding in the car with her corpse for 2 hours. So that's why my mum came down to support me, because she took her, we wrapped her in a blanket and put her in a box, and Mum took her with her when she went home. But I asked Mum if someone could record her burial. They had my sister and her family held a little funeral for her, and they even sang a song, and it was nice. It was good goodbye. And then a little while later, about a few weeks later or a month later, I was able to go up and stayed over their place. And I asked Mum to show me where she was buried, where the gravestone was. And I sat there for about 5 minutes talking to her. And I was able to get that closure. I was able to properly say goodbye. And after that, I felt better. The pain will never go away. It never goes away. But it gave me enough space in my heart to move on. And these two, Moogie and Rayla, they've been really helping me. They've been my cure. It's kind of sad because pets don't last forever. They don't last as long. And that's why I've had to say goodbye to so many cats. They've either run away or been sick or just been old. And it's hard. But I can't imagine not having a cat, because that's just me. I'm a cat girl. I'm a cat person. And I know one day I will have to say goodbye to these two. But I'll do the same thing. I'll adopt another one and move on, because that's just the best way. And that's pretty much it. And why specifically do I love cats? Well, I guess because I've always just been around them. I'm used to them, and I know how to look after them, and I know how to raise them. And I know if I raise them from a young enough age, I know how to turn them into a loving, affectionate cat. I mean, look at Rayla. When this one first moved in, she was scared and wary and, was unsure, and she swiped out at Moogie and, and she spent her first week just being confused and frightened. But look at her now. Okay. She's friendly, she's affectionate, she's purrs all the time. And she's just turned out to be a lovely kitty. And she's still only 4 months old. So the key is just to shower them with affection, look after them, and I try to be as much of a mother as I can. They're given away, they're taken away from their mothers at such a young age. But cats are very independent. And that's another reason I like cats. Once they're old enough, when this one at this age, as a kitten, kittens are high maintenance because they're babies and they need attention, they make a lot of mess, and they need to be played with. But once they're adults, you don't need to do as much. Their need to play dies down and they can go outside and walk themselves, and all you really need to do is just love them, really, and feed them. Of course, you need to keep them alive. I don't know if you can hear, but she's purring super loud. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. I've kind of poured my heart out as best as I can. And I'll see you all later. Kitty says bye-bye.